All right, I've been so excited for this video. That's why we're all dressed up, looking all, business casual and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we've been putting off this video for a long time. We've been wanting to do this video. So let's take a look. But before we do that, let me introduce this podcast. Welcome back to the Controvert podcast, where we talk about modern dating, growth motivation, and crazy life stories. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Dalen. My name's Panda. All right, let's take a look at this video.
One thing that we underestimate about men are their feelings. And women will talk all the time about how she needs her man to make her feel secure, to validate her feelings, and to reassure her. Me. You never hear about how a man should feel validated, secure, and reassured as well. Yet he's human, with human emotions. Many times, especially online, men's feelings and experiences in relationships are invalidated. An insult that I see often.
Let's pause it real quick. She's saying a lot of things. So I want to first talk about some of these things she's saying first. So she's saying that men oftentimes we feel invalidated, right? Mm-hmm. And it's always the women's feelings and all this stuff, but we have to, or women have to, or we as society, we have to really be cognizant of how men feel, because a lot of times we just focus on how the woman feels, and we're not really empathetic about how a man feels, because we think about masculinity and how a man is just very macho and confident, and he doesn't need that much empathy, he doesn't need that much care. So I often felt with some of my exes, I would be kind of giving them a lot of encouragement. Mm-hmm. And when I would be giving them a lot of encouragement, then they would kind of go oh, you're not giving me encouragement and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, shit, I've given her all this encouragement, but she hasn't given me any, and my encouragement to her is still not enough. And so
you're talking about emotional encouragement, stuff like that, being there emotionally for her, but she doesn't kind of return it back to you. She kind of expects you to be there emotionally for her, but when you're feeling a little bit down and not feeling yourself, would you say you're kind of scared to approach her with the situation because it would make you less manly, or are you kind of expecting her to be there for you type of thing?
I mean, you know me, I'm pretty vocal about things, and especially my friends, all the friends that are watching this right now, you guys know I'm pretty vocal about things that bother me. So in a sense, I'm a little bitch,
Well, I mean, I
I'm
feel
a little girl that's just talking shit about my feelings, right? But
I feel if you do have a problem or something, you have to voice your opinion for it to be known. If you keep it inside and all bundled up, no one would know that maybe you offended them, or there is a problem, or you're not feeling comfortable with that situation.
See, that's the thing. A lot of men do that. They do hold it in. They do bundle it.
Bundle it up, yeah.
Bottle it up.
Bottle it up,
word,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, they
it
bottle it up a lot. But for me, I personally think that if I bottle it up too much, then I'm just gonna explode. So I just kind of let loose. But even when I let loose, it just seems I'll give some of my ex-girlfriends credit. They are there for me. But it comes to a point where a lot of the things that bother me the same amount that bothers them, I would be there for them more than they are for me. They would kind of just kind of brush off whatever I'm going through, and they're oh, you okay? That's it.
But so me, really surface level, they would just be oh, it's it's whatever, hope you feel better. But you, on the other hand, you would feel you kind of dive deeper into the problem, trying to maybe find a resolution for them.
Yeah, asking questions, asking oh, what exactly happened, and then try to get the other person's point of view, and then being oh, if you really care about something, you would ask more about it. You would ask more, and then you would kind of conclude with that and be okay, yeah, that's fucked up, what he or she did. But if you're just oh, that's fucked up, anyways,
and then they'll change subjects, right? Or they're trying to avoid it, or
yeah, it's not really, I didn't feel
they cared too much.
There's that much care about what I was talking about.
They kind of just brush it off oh, they're probably thinking or assuming, oh, he's a man, he's got it under control. I just got to express a little surface level compassion, and that's it. Maybe he's gonna get over it after that.
And if especially men like me who look more alpha and act more confident, especially guys like us, women or just society will believe that these guys do not need validation or anything like that. or the emotional support. So let's get back more into the video, see what else she has to say.
An insult that I see oftentimes comes their way in defense for a woman's poor behavior is he's an insecure man. When the truth is that a lot of women that are in relationships or are trying to get into relationships are just too selfish. They don't let that man know that it's okay for him to talk to her. It's okay for him to come vent. It's okay for him to come cry, because he's made that mistake before and his feelings have been weaponized and used against him later. A man will sit in a car for 15 minutes because him sitting in that lonely car is safer than him going home to his wife or girlfriend. But hey, happy wife, happy life, right? Because as long as his wife is happy, that relationship is doing okay. It doesn't matter how he's feeling. That is messed up.
That was a very big part when she said like the 15 minutes, sit in the car for 15 minutes and not go home to his wife. That hit me big. You know why? Because I've done that before, where I was going through all this stress with a ex-girlfriend, and all the stuff I had to do for her was just like not getting appreciated. And it was just like I had all this stress pent up, and then I felt like all the time it would just be like exactly how she said, be like me for the girl. And so I was giving a lot of empathy for the girl. And so there was a time where I just sat in my car and I just cried my ass off alone while she just like went back in, because I was just like so fed up with and so overloaded with all the stuff that I had to go through with providing and stuff like this, and just being a support for her.
So like an overload of basically emotions, and you weren't able to kind of you were there for her, but she wasn't reciprocating that with you. So like when in times of need, she would kind of, what would you say she was like when you needed her, or when you felt like you were being kind of tuned out, or she kind of disregarded you?
Yeah, I definitely felt like she was like just not really caring. Well, like the biggest thing is that I had so much things to do, and it was exactly how this girl Emily said it. It was more like, oh,
it's not important. It's me.
I'm doing so much, and no one's giving me encouragement. And I was like, how can she say stuff like this? And I would ask like, well, do you think about like the things that I'm going through? Like I said it on another day, I didn't say it at the same time. She would go like, oh, I just need some encouragement, blah. She would say things like, you know, I do all these things, I just feel like I'm so tired, and I feel like no one encourages or validates what I'm doing, blah blah blah. And I always say that, you know, your boss is proud of you, stuff like that. I'm happy your boss is proud of you, and I know you're a smart person and all this stuff. But there's not really anything she would say to me. It was just always like, oh, you're stupid, blah blah blah. And then it'd just be like, oh, like she just doesn't really care, you know. I know she's joking. Obviously she wouldn't be with someone if she actually thinks he's dumb, but men need validation just as much as women do.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's even other videos, I think we'll discuss this in like future episodes, but there's other videos where they talk about how a small compliment to a man is very big, because a woman is getting all these compliments every day. They're getting like DMs from all these guys. The average guy doesn't get any fucking DMs. Even good looking guys rarely gets DMs
compared to like an average looking girl.
Yeah, an average looking girl gets so much attention. And so like if you're getting all this attention, it becomes like typical play, like it becomes
expected,
mundane, commonplace.
Yeah.
And for a guy to just like not ever get that, for us, it's very big. If you validate our feelings as a woman, it's really big for us. It's very powerful. So when she talks about this, like sitting in the car for 15 minutes, I really resonated with that. It hit me. It hit a fucking soft spot, because I was like, dude, yeah, I have sat in a car, just cried for 15 minutes. And you see me, right? I'm just like, I look like a confident guy. I look like I would never cry, right? I look like someone who doesn't have like issues, like emotional issues and stuff like that. I look stoic. But no, like I just sat in my car and cried, because like I just felt like it was very shameful to do that in front of my girlfriend. And it's like how she says, women will weaponize things against you and make it feel like you can't talk about these cases.
Yeah, that's one important thing I wanted to talk about as well. I feel like some men are scared to like kind of share what they're feeling, or like kind of show like vulnerability, because like once things aren't working in the woman's favor, or like she's kind of like fed up with something, she uses that against the man and just brings it up. Like even if they're fighting or whatever, she just brings it up out of nowhere, and then you're like, damn, like you didn't really have to go there, you know? Like I feel like a lot of men have encountered that situation where they kind of got hurt, where they were like, oh, I thought like you were my safe place. Like I thought like I could tell you this stuff, and then you would kind of like keep it in like a place where like you wouldn't bring it up. And then like when you guys get into an argument, she brings that stuff up right away, and you're just like, I feel like you kind of disregarded my feelings with that. Like, why are you bringing it up again? You know, it's like, I told you I was kind of like or like I had feelings or insecurity about this stuff, and then like in moments of like arguments and stuff, you bring that stuff right up. It's like, why did I tell you in the first place? I should have never told you this stuff, you know? It's like, I feel like some men go through that where they're just like, oh, I had this happen to me before. So like in the future, they're kind of cautious about sharing what they're feeling or what their vulnerability is, because they don't want it being used against them later on.
Yeah, and I think women, they need to stop with that bullshit, because like men are human beings as well, and there's a lot of soft boys out there who don't even have like that much masculinity, and they can't tolerate a lot of this bullshit. So if there's a guy who's like really soft, and then you kind of just like offend him a little bit, and then when he's offended, you just go like, oh, you're an insecure guy. That's fucked up, man. I mean, you just think about like a small like slap to a woman's face, then she overreacts. But then like a big punch to a guy's face, and he's just like a little small, like, hey, can you not do that? And she goes like, hey, you're insecure. Yeah, it's lack of freedom of speech for us as men. And so we feel a little bit threatened, like if we need to open up to a girl, if we have problems that bother us, it would just be like weaponized against us, and the woman would just be like, are you just insecure? Yeah. Like for example, this a big thing that bothers me, and a big thing that we talk about on our podcast, is the whole dating and paying for first dates. I don't believe that a man should pay for dates, right? So when I talk to this and voice my opinion to some girls and how it bothers me, how I gotten taken advantage of before, I would get some feedback from women. They would be like, I think you have some trust issues. Like,
see, like,
hey man, like my trust issues is not just a personal issue. It's a systemic issue where it's affecting the whole society. Yeah. And it's not even just like one or two girls that I come across. It's like a big majority that I come across first dates, and you know, they just take me for advantage, right? And then even not even like first dates, but let's talk about like long-term dating. Long-term dating is just taking advantage, and then they call me fucking cheap or whatever bullshit, right? And I'm like, well, I paid for a lot of bullshit that I didn't need to pay for, and you're just a girlfriend. You're not like my wife or a family member right now. So why is it that, you know? So basically, like, to TLDR this, I kind of like show that, like, you know, this isn't like my responsibility, and I've gotten hurt in the past by this, and then I just get called insecure. So it's
what she says is relatable. Being whatever you share with her can be weaponized against you later on. Yeah.
So the point of this video is to let female viewers, if you're dealing with a guy, like, give him a chance to open up, because he's probably going through a lot of bullshit. The suicide rate for men is a lot higher than women. People don't expect that. I didn't expect that until I saw it. And so we often disregard men's feelings, and men are actually going through a lot of bullshit.
Sometimes even perhaps more than the women are, because I feel like men have, in a sense, more responsibilities than a woman.
Yeah.
And here, take a look at this comment, dude, over here.
A lot of women are gonna argue with you about that in the comments, by the way.
All right, well, I mean, if you have your opinions, please comment down below, and we could you could share your thoughts on that. But I mean,
you're gonna get a lot of flame from women. They're gonna be like, "Hey, dude, are you serious? You just said that men have a lot more responsibility." But fuck it, dude. Comment below.
Comment below maybe I have something to say about that.
We could definitely debate with you on that.
Uh-huh. Let's take a look over here at this comment over here that this guy left. He said, it's a trap, fellas. Women do not respect a man who opens up and shows vulnerability. You want to do that? Get a best friend or a counselor to talk to, not your lady. What do you think about that? Do you think men should not show their vulnerable or soft sides to a girl? Because that's going to kind of repel them away or turn them off.
It does. Yeah. I do feel like to a certain degree, you know, I do kind of feel like if you vent to a girl, it kind of makes you guys closer. But to a certain degree, if you keep doing that a lot, then it kind of repels her. Even past a certain threshold when you guys are like long-term dating, and then even if you complain about the smallest thing, not the smallest, if you complain like a little bit, you complain a small amount, then that woman might think that, okay, like this guy's fucking soft. Because once you get to a long-term threshold with that person, then her probably patience would be a lot less, and then she would probably be like, oh, he's complaining about something. Even though it's like just one time he's complained within the last month, she might be like, oh fuck, this is a lot of stress. You know,
like the woman might start to think like, does this guy have it all under control? Like, why is he being such a wuss, right?
Yeah. I will speak on a lot of women though. Like there has been a lot of women that have been there for me. So I mean, you really have to see how it goes, like what type of woman this is. But for the most part, I felt like to a certain degree, after I'm with this girl for like probably a year or so, she probably doesn't really care that much anymore, because she's like, oh, okay, like he's complaining about something. Even though the last time I complained was probably a month ago, she'd probably be like, just brushed off. And then when she complains, she expects me to be like,
are you even listening to me? Like,
yeah,
like that type of energy?
I listen way more than like any of my ex-girlfriends listen to me. So yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like a lot of people say guys don't listen, but I definitely listen. Yeah, and then I still feel like, damn, dude, weaponized. Here's another thing. I was talking to a girl recently too about why I don't really like give my all to like a woman. And it's because like I got played before, right? So that's why I have like fuckboy experiences, because fuckboys kind of get the origin fuckboy story is that like
they get fucked over.
They get fucked over. So that's why they start becoming fuckboys. Honestly, I don't think that's why I became a fuckboy, but you know, that could kind of be like an origin story, I guess. I don't know. It's up to you guys what you guys think. But what happened this time was like I was explaining how I got fucked over before, and like that's why I don't just like give my all to a girl. I don't just like, until she could give me a reason for me to trust her. Until she gives me that reason, then I'll give my all. And then I was getting a lot of insecurity, thinking that this girl might think, oh, you know what? You're a little bit insecure, but fuck girls are actually a fucking problem. I've had many times where like a girl was fucking other dudes while talking to me. I'm not talking about like a lot. I'm not talking about like 10 times. There's probably like 3 times or so. And that's a lot for like women, you know, because women generally don't do that. I don't have a lot of cases that happen like that. I'll be honest, like there's a lot more fuck boys than fuck girls, but like there are fuck girls out there, and there are even like girls that don't know what they want. And in a sense, that gives you the same feeling as what a fuck girl does, because a fuck girl, I mean, a girl who doesn't know what she wants, she might like lead you on and stuff like that, and you might feel like a little bit played. It's the same feeling as like a fuck girl, right? So there's a lot more cases like that I went through, where a girl didn't know what she wanted, but she kind of made it look like she wanted to get with me and stuff like that. Big disappointment. So both of these have the effect of disappointment. And so when I was having this conversation with this girl, I felt like she would kind of be like, oh, this guy's insecure and stuff like that. But good thing she didn't. But it's crazy that like we as men, we have to feel this way. Like we feel like we can't voice these things. I felt like I couldn't tell her about my past experiences and how that makes me a little bit more cautious dealing with women in general. Because obviously it's very logical. You don't want to give this person your complete trust straight off the bat. But I've had cases in the past, not this girl, but cases in the past where they were like, oh, do you have trust issues, blah blah blah, and it's weaponized. And that's why this video meant a lot to me, because I was like, we as men, we don't really have a voice now, which is crazy.
And how a girl could just basically come up and like
Emasculate us.
just mention like insecurity and stuff, like, oh, are you the one insecure? But I think in some cases it's not us being insecure, it's kind of them being a little bit too selfish, right?
Yeah.
In a sense where they only care about how
I would say not selfish, probably inconsiderate.
Yeah, that's a better word.
She used the word selfish, but I would feel like inconsiderate. Yeah. Because it's very easy for us to, as a society, it's easy for us to forget that men need this care. And our channel, we talk a lot about how we strive for equality and stuff like that. That's why, we're more like purple pill and stuff like that. We're more about equality. That's why, purple is in the middle of like blue and red. That's why our colors are purple. So we always try to look at it from both sides. That's why earlier I mentioned that, yeah, there are more fuck boys than fuck girls, right? We want to be like more balanced. And fuck boys do kind of fuck things up a little bit. And it messes up like the dynamic with dating, because now women can't really trust a lot of the guys out there. And so we look at like from both sides, but this video is more so for men. We got to really care about how men are feeling, because you have cases like this where a guy's just crying in his car because he can't go home to his wife and cry and then vent, when she should be that support system.
Do you think it's engraved into our society that men should be able to handle their own emotions themselves? Like, I've seen cases where sometimes in relationships where a guy would have to lie to her significant other or even wife in some cases just to have like a weekend out with boys or whatever, because he's scared about the repercussions that would come if she found out about some stuff like that, where he needed a break from her, and like not even to like step out into the relationship or anything, but like a break and just like with the boys out, just kind of decompressing with the boys, kind of sharing, because when a guy's with his boys, he's able to kind of share his emotions and like kind of talk about what's on his mind. But sometimes when he does that with his significant other or wife, he might feel like that she might be like inconsiderate or not really there for him,
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people or a lot of guys just don't want to deal with that, and they just want to go out with the boys, just a way for a rewind. Because I speak about this like with my experience like in the past as well, because sometimes like just being with my ex-girlfriends or girlfriends at that time, it would be stressful at sometimes. I'm not saying like all my girlfriends were like that, all my past girlfriends were like that, but like there were some girlfriends where I just felt like they were grabbing me by the balls. I just felt like I needed to get the fuck out. I just needed to have a bro night. It's not necessarily that I'm just going to go fuck some girls or whatever bullshit. It's just more so like I needed to rewind, and that can't come if you don't have the trust. And that's why this girl, she's saying how you need to be there for a man. It's a form of trust. A man would trust that you're able to be there
and not judge him or mention that he's insecure about this stuff.
Yep. I think I'm good. I think that was pretty much it.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning in to Controvert Podcast. If you have any comments, please leave them down below, and please remember to like and subscribe for future videos. See you next time.